we've learned where Texas fits in the overall coal picture in America. Let's talk about specifics now. The coal age is ushered in the 1880s, really in northeastern Erath County. Northwestern Erath County is where really it's the birthplace of the Texas coal industry. There, William and Harvey Johnson developed mines to sell to the Texas and Pacific Railroad, which had passed through that region just a few years before. Most of that early coal mining was done by hand. That's a hard, labor-intensive job. The lignite that was mined was used to fuel fires in homes and also used to generate power in the state. These original owners, even though they had a customer with the Texas and Pacific Railroad, eventually go broke. They go broke because miner strikes essentially sap all their revenues, and the Johnson brothers have to sell. And they sell to the Texas and Pacific Coal Company. The Texas and Pacific Coal Company is a subsidiary of the railroad, essentially a way of controlling fuel sources for their locomotives. This company, the Texas and Pacific Coal Company, establishes a headquarters mining town in Thurber. Now, Thurber is the quintessential company town, and by the 20th century had ballooned to about a 10,000 person population. It included schools, churches, saloons, stores, houses, opera houses, a sizable hotel, an electric plant, an ice plant. Later, they had a brick factory. The people that populated Thurber came from all over the globe. There were Italians and Poles, miners from the fields in Pennsylvania and West Virginia and Kentucky. There was Welsh miners from Great Britain. There was Irish miners, Mexican miners, Germans, French, Belgian, Austrians, Swedes, Russians, you name it. The whole world was represented, seemed like, in Thurber, Texas, a town of 10,000. Now then, who owns all these saloons and churches and stores and provides houses for all these folks that have moved there? That would be the company. This is a company town in every meaning of the word. I mean, they owned everything. As a result, the company, the Texas Pacific Coal Company, could maintain a fairly repressive environment over its employees. You didn't dare strike, because if you struck, the company might evict you from their house. It's pretty rough. Despite the efforts of manager William Knox Gordon, the workers organized under the United Mine Workers by 1903. Now all of a sudden, we have unions operating in Thurber. And in fact, they operated it as a 100% closed shop city. This in a right-to-work state. Well, under these new conditions, they were productive. And in fact, Thurber reaches peak production right about in the 1913-1917 range, which coincides with peak production statewide. The thing that starts to eclipse coal at Thurber and eclipse coal statewide is oil. Oil discoveries in nearby Ranger, in fact, doomed Thurber. These holes are punched in 1917. They come in strong. And then all of a sudden, oil will be what drives locomotives and warships and everything else that used to be driven by coal. By the 1920s, Thurber's on the skids. It is going downhill and rapidly becoming a ghost town. By 1945, the entire rest of the industry goes the same way Thurber did and is largely extinct.